The member from Hennepin, Representative Flanagan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wanted to speak to two things within this bill, and the first is to echo some of the comments that have been made by Representative Bly and Representative Freiberg regarding the Perpich Center. And the Perpich Center is in my district. The Perpich Center truly has created a space for many students who feel like they don't fit in anywhere else. Perpich has traditionally allowed students to fully be themselves while excelling academically and artistically. And I acknowledge that unfortunately those core values were under threat in the past leadership structure. That said, I'm pleased to see that the Perpich Center for the Arts is now in a turnaround mode. With a new board and new executive director, fresh leadership is working overtime to make changes. Many of the changes that were made recently by the Office of the Legislative Auditor just 2 months ago. I feel confident in the direction of these new leaders and certainly think we owe them a chance to make changes before we take the radical step of abolishing Perpich altogether and leaving families and students stranded. But here's the bottom line for the Perpich Center. It saves lives. I recently received a text from a dear friend of mine who said, before I went to the Perpich Center, I was the kid who failed all my classes. I was the kid who ate lunch alone in the art room. I didn't belong. When I went to the Perpich Center, everything turned around. I was able to be my full self in all of my weirdness. And this friend succeeded academically. And so I just want to lift up for a moment the Perpich Center and say, let's give them a chance. And I'm counting on Governor Dayton to block anything as extreme as a complete abolishment of the Perpich Center for the Arts. And then the last thing that I want to speak to is to build on what Representative Kunesh-Podein was talking about with regards for funding for BIE schools. When I walked in this chamber for the first time, I looked up. And I don't know how often you all look up and you see the carving here up on the wall. But it is a constant reminder to me of the history of this state, who we displaced, and who we need to continue to support. The fact that I am standing here as a Native woman who graduated from college and now is a state representative is a triumph. Not because of me, but because those who came before me. And the fact that we have Native women in this chamber and a Native man on the other side of the aisle means something. So when I look at this funding, and Representative Loon, I appreciate the increase in the supplemental funding that was made in 2015. I do. And I say, let's not stop now. When Representative Kunesh-Podein talks about the boarding schools and the children who are stolen, literally stolen away from their families, someone would knock on your door and take your child. To kill the Indian to save the man. That is one generation removed from my family. And that trauma remains. So when we look at this bill, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity that we are missing in this bill to continue the funding and to increase the funding for some of our most vulnerable students who have been neglected and who have been left behind consistently. We have a promise to American Indian students. A promise that was made by the federal government in exchange for all of this. We were guaranteed education and health care. The federal government has fallen short. We not need do the same, colleagues. We have an opportunity here to support our Native students, to vote in favor of the governor's proposal to give additional money to BIE schools. And you may say these are federal schools, but listen, they are all our kids. They are all our kids. So when I look at this bill, it's not enough. It's not enough. We've taken significant steps forwards. We cannot take a step backwards. The lives of our Native children depend on it. Thank you.